goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the hype, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713, could've 21, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low-key. I'm sipping low-key and hiding, flying right up. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the hype, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back again. Hopefully you can hear me all right. But we are back again to Loaded Mag NUFC, the away days, the big match preview. This is the first one of the season, 25-26. We're up and running, ready to go, and we are going to get into it. If you haven't watched already the show earlier on today, there was the breaking news on Jacob Ramsey. We are going to ask Billy all about this when we bring Billy into the chat. But Daz, in the last hour, since I've not been on with you, how have you been? You okay?
I've been good, Pete. I decided I had to eat something before the next show, so I decided to make myself an omelette. So that's what I did. That's what I made it, ate it, washed up, because I'm home alone tonight because my wife and my little boy are at their nana's house. My wife is working as well. So, yeah, get the eating out of the way and get into the show. And before we forget as well, and I'm going to drop it into the chat now as well, our guest Billy starting his YouTube channel. I'd say it was something in the pipeline for a long time. So you'll see the hyperlink at the top because we just changed it there, and also the link is in the chat. So it's only one subscriber at the moment. I'm assuming it's himself. So let's get him a few more subscribers as he starts his YouTube journey. Much like Dan United, and look, he's flying now as well, Dan United. But yeah, I'm Grant. What did you do for the last hour, Pete?
I also ate as well. Made sure I got my food in nice and early. The missus made a curry. So, yeah, it was. I only had a little bit. The kids had that, a little bit of curry, a little bit of naan bread. It was really nice, to be fair. But omelette, not made an omelette for a while. Is it just plain egg cheese, or do you put anything else in it? A bit of spinach,
peppers, ham, a bit of onion. The reason look, we're going off topic totally, but we're feeling a bit of time. It's because of holidays. Holidays, and the food, they cook the food for you. And I'll try an omelet. Now, ever since then, I've been making omelets for myself. So, all good though. Can't we? All good. Everyone else, people in the chat, of course, goes without saying. Make sure you get those likes in. Make sure you get those nice and high, nice and early. Do all that good stuff and sit back and enjoy the show. Get your questions in for Billy, for us, with regards to this topic. We are going to get to it. And it's a pleasure to welcome in AV Billy from his YouTube channel, also known on 12th Man as well. So let's welcome in Billy to the screen. Welcome, Billy.
Thank you for having me, boys. How are we?
Pleasure. No,
good.
We're good, mate, and it's a pleasure to have you on. It's been a while since we had you on. I think we had you on one of the previews last season.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't manage to get you on before the back end of last season. So it's great to have you back on, mate. And
good to be back on, mate.
I have to say, Daz has just plugged it, so we'll plug it again. I just took the screen picture for anyone that's looking to subscribe, and let's get the subscribers up right now. AV Billy YouTube, that's the account. So make sure you're all subscribing from Loaded Mag NUFC to AV Billy. It's going to be some great content on Aston Villa. So make sure you're keeping all those things up. And it's finally, Billy, you're doing your own.
I know. It's been far too long. But no, with the season coming up, I thought it's been in the pipeline for a while. I've wanted to do it for a while, and then the season's come up, and I've thought, right, I need to actually announce it properly. So you've got the exclusive.
Good stuff. The excuses we like as well. That's the breaking news is that
breaking news. Has to be.
Absolutely. But look, Billy, it's great to have you on. I think it's quite timely that we've got you on. Of course, we play you on Saturday, but we have to ask you the question first. Obviously, the breaking news for Newcastle's perspective, and I suppose Villa's as well, is the soon-to-be signing of Jacob Ramsey. We talked about it in our show earlier. We got the Here We Go. There was various different prices put around. I know we had a conversation, Billy, about it, around the 38 million, 40 million. Actually, there's been other prices as well. Keith Downey says it's 39 plus 4, so it works out to around 43 million all in. There's been varying different prices on it, but ultimately the player has just landed in Newcastle. Keith Downey got the exclusive of him getting off the jet and making his way to the training ground. What do you make of Jacob Ramsey's move to Newcastle United? Academy player, leaving the club. Like, what's just from a Villa perspective, what's your thoughts on this deal, mate?
To be honest with you, I think it's a good deal for everyone involved, for Villa, for Newcastle, and for the player himself. As a Villa fan, I absolutely love Jacob Ramsey. I really do think he's a fantastic player, and I always will love Jacob Ramsey. There's certainly no hard feelings for me. Particularly, I know a lot of Villa fans have got this thing about him not signing a contract and things like that. For me, I will always like Jacob Ramsey until undoubtedly he scores against us at some point. But no, he's a fantastic player. On his day, he's a fantastic player, fantastic carrier of the ball as well, strong, quick, very dynamic, and he will undoubtedly be a great signing for Newcastle United. From a Villa perspective, I think it's a good deal for us as well. We're getting 40 million or around 40 million for a player that can sometimes be slightly inconsistent, has scored 2 Premier League goals in the last 2 seasons, and someone that can pick up injuries as well. So it's, you look at how we're going to replace Jacob Ramsey. Well, really, you're only replacing 2 goals in the past 2 seasons from a Villa perspective. So like I say, for everyone involved, and I think for Jacob Ramsey himself, it's a change of scenery, a good opportunity to go there with a fantastic midfield already established to really come in, proper competition there to go, I'm going to be the main man now. Joe Linton, whoever it is, move out the way. I'm coming in and I'm steaming through. So yeah, it's a really interesting one, to be honest with you. I don't know how I'm just interested to see how it all works out from both perspectives as well. Because like I say, if you get him on his game, he's a fantastic player. But as I mentioned as well, there can be slight inconsistencies in his game since his metatarsal injury a couple of summers ago, and I just don't think he's really kicked on how we hoped and thought that he would do as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, and of course as well how we're going to reinvest the money as well. I'm in a bit of a weird position because it sounds a little bit backwards, but I'm more excited for the season and for the transfer window. Now we've had this news of Ramsey leaving and Bailey leaving, because I'm all of a sudden thinking, right, how are we going to reinvest this money? And I think we will do. I know Tom Colomos came out with a report today saying that we may not be able to. Personally, I think we'll definitely bring some newcomers in. What I think that was more about is we're probably not going to go out and buy a 50-60 million pound replacement. Right. It'll probably be a little bit cheaper and a little bit smarter business, I think. But I think we have to, for numbers more than anything as well, to go out and reinvest that money. So, yeah, I'm really excited for how the season's going or going to be, and a little bit more excited now that we've got some movement. This summer's just been so quiet from a Villa perspective, ingoings, outgoings. It's just been really stale. Now we've got a little bit of movement. I'm a little bit more excited, and of course the game as well on Saturday. I'm looking forward to, but also incredibly nervous for.
Are you have you been worried at any point in this summer? Because I've asked you this separately before from a Villa perspective, is that, everyone's been talking about Newcastle United. Everyone's been talking about who's been rejected by this player, that player, the other. Obviously been clouded now for the last month with regards to Alexander Isak. All the talk's been about Newcastle United, but I think that Villa have kind of gone under the radar because they haven't really signed anyone.
Mm-hmm.
They have now Ivan Gessan, who's a very, very good striker. I'm sure you'll talk about him shortly. But do you expect with 2 weeks to go that you're going to invest in multiple players, or are you just looking for like with Jacob Ramsey, and that's kind of it? Like, how do you see these last couple of weeks going in this window for Aston Villa?
I think from what I've heard, it looks like Asensio is going to come back for starters. Whether that's a permanent or whether that's a loan, I'm not too sure. But from the reports that I've heard, it looks like he could be coming back. So there's that one. Obviously, not much of a like-for-like replacement for Ramsey there. But that aside, I think we'll probably bring in a couple, maybe 3 max new signings. I don't expect there to be wholesale signings at all. And I don't think there's going to be too many. I don't think there will be any key signings leave either. And by key, I mean the likes of Emi Martinez, Ollie Watkins, certainly not a Morgan Rogers, a Tielemans, Konza, players like that. Obviously, Bouba Kamara has just signed his new contract as well, so he's not going anywhere. And yeah, I think that's for me personally, at least, that's been the main thing for Villa this summer, to keep hold of those key players. Obviously, at the beginning of the window, there was a lot of talk about Martinez leaving to Man United. There was a lot of talk about Watkins potentially leaving. As the window's gone on, it's got more and more pivotal and more important that we keep hold of those players. And it looks like that's exactly what we've done. So for me, it is slightly disappointing that we've not gone out and bought a few more players. I mean, for me personally, I'd really like to see a better right back come in. I struggle with Matty Cash being our starting.
I thought you were his biggest fan.
Nah. I don't mind him, but he struggles to cross the ball. He always cuts back. This is his problem. If he was to take the man on and whip a ball in, then I'd be all for him. But he's constantly cutting back, and yeah, it winds me up the amount that he cuts back. So I'd like to see us get a better right back to who can whip those balls in and who's willing to take on his defender on the outside. So that's my. I think that's the only area really that we're really weak. I'd say, because we don't really have much of a replacement either. You've got Andres Garcia, the young Spaniard, who came in and has played well at times, but he's also still very young and very raw and not ready to make that step up to be a consistent starter. So yeah, that's the one area really I think I'd like to see us improve, but I don't think we will either. I think our signings are probably going to be a little bit more attacking, maybe bolster the centre-back position as well, with a backup centre-back. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a right back, but that'd be my main area to bring a player into, I think.
Well, sorry. just before in the last show, really, and I'm linking into one of the super chats here. We were talking about being in the same boat as Villa when it comes to PSR and squad cost ratio and everything else like that. But because you'll have heard us talking about it with Elliot Anderson and Yankubu Minta having to offload them last June. But Danielle has a super chat in here. Danielle Dipsy. She goes, disgrace that teams like Newcastle and Villa are having to sell their own players for PSR just to get by, whilst the cartel hold us all down. What's your thoughts on that, Billy, on the Big Six and the games that go on in the background?
I think we're all in agreement with how ridiculous it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think there has to be some sort of restrictions somewhere. So you can't just. I know this is going to sound. I don't know how this will go down on a Newcastle channel, but you can't get a Newcastle with Saudi owners going, bang, here's this for Mbappe, here's this for whoever. So I think there does have to be some sort of restrictions to a certain extent, but for them to be as restrictive as they are, it is just a top six. You go on and do your thing. The rest of you can just stay down here, which isn't on in any way, shape, or form. And it's just a shame that we've got these owners. We've all got money that we want to reinvest. We're all ambitious. We want to be able to compete with these teams, but the rules just don't allow it. And there needs to be a little bit of a loosening to the rules, in my opinion. But it's how you do that without all sorts of legal battles and problems and God knows what else that you'd get into. And yeah, I don't know how you do it. I'm not paid. That's not my job. But I think it should certainly happen at some point because it is unfair as it stands. It really is.
There has to be a better way. And yeah, you're right. Look, and it would take the enjoyment of it if let's say a Newcastle were just going out and buying anyone they wanted, like a Gareth Bale at the time of the takeover or whatever the case may be. But look, there has to be a better way of doing it than it's done today. So hopefully, sometime that gets done. And else you want to add, Pete?
Well played, Daz. Well played. I see what you did there. But no, I agree. Like someone mentioned it a while ago. I'm not sure if it was LB, but you know, you look at the PSR situation, and you look at the fact that you know the old PSR that we're currently in, where you have to spend 100, or you can only spend or have a deficit of 105 million over 3 years or whatever it is. That's the old school. That was what. That's 10 years ago. And someone mentioned it. It might have been LB, it might have been someone else. Like, we've not had any inflation on that. So prices and money's gone up. Everything's more expensive now than it was 10 years ago. You know, 10 years ago was before the Neymar transfer, which changed the course of any sort of transfer related business. Off that point, Mbappe was very shortly after that, and that just inflated everybody's prices. Inflation hasn't happened with PSR, so we're still sticking to this 105 million deficit, whatever it is, but prices are getting even more expensive, so it's making it hard for us and Villa, and you know, you could say Forest. You maybe throw Forest in there, and a couple of others that have tried and failed over the years. It stopped us from being able to build. I think even if you just added a bit of inflation in there, you gave the deficit a little bit more leeway, would allow us to spend more, and it would allow us to be more competitive than we are now. And it doesn't have to be rapid changes or ripping up the rules and no rules whatsoever. Just little changes that they can make, but they're not doing it because they know even those little changes the course of what this top six are. It changes the course of what the big boys are competing against, because they are. We've struggled. You've had to sell Duran during the January transfer window.
I think I saw something. It's almost £300 million worth of players that we've sold over the past two and a half seasons. I think, if that. Yeah. And yet we're still looking around, going, "Oh, we can't spend this. We can't spend that." It's utterly ridiculous, really, isn't it?
It's mad. It's absolutely mad. But there you go. They don't want the changes. Like that little deficit change doesn't really make a massive difference to those top six because of the big revenues that they get in. Like Man United, for example, didn't get European football, are still able to splash 200 million plus on players.
And offer ridiculous wages.
Exactly. Neither of our clubs would ever be able to do that, which is the laughable thing of it all. Just before we move on and we start talking about the game, Billy, I just want to rewind to Jacob Ramsey, because obviously you talked about Jacob Ramsey and the move from Villa to Newcastle. But Daz, you asked the question on Top Table Talk to Rich from the Villa Park pod. You obviously you know Rich as well, Billy, about sort of what type of player Ramsey is. For anyone in the chat that's maybe didn't watch that show or missed that, you know, what type of player for you is Jacob Ramsey? Like, what are his skill set? What does he offer on the pitch that Newcastle fans could maybe consider watching a little bit closer, and what they can be excited about seeing?
I think the one thing with Ramsey that impresses me more than anything is the way how good quick and strong he is running with the ball at his feet. He's such a good carrier of the ball. He can turn players and bang, he's away instantly. And like I say, he's strong with that as well. So if he's in a tussle, a lot of the time he's keeping hold of the ball. And so that's the one thing for me, that particularly when we lost Grealish as well, Ramsey was almost able to step up a little bit and really show how good he was with carrying the ball as well. And he's still got that today. So that's something that you can definitely expect to see with Ramsey. And I think those forward bursts through your midfield and high up onto the pitch as well, you'll get a lot of joy out of him with that. And before his injury, his metatarsal injury a couple of seasons ago, he always had an eye for a goal as well. And I think if you can keep him fit and you can give him a good run of games, I think that will eventually come back as well. So I think with this transfer, there's going to be a part at some point where Newcastle have thought, we've got an absolute bargain here. He's incredible. And I hope that happens for Ramsey's sake, because I say I've always liked him, but also as a rival, it's really hard to get behind. But of course, yeah, there will be spells where he's fantastic for you. But like I say, I'm only saying this over the past couple of seasons, since his injury in particular, he has been quite inconsistent with it. So maybe once every 6 or 7 games, he's phenomenal, and then he can drop off a little bit. And that obviously hasn't helped with the niggly injuries that he's picked up along the way as well. Yeah. So like I say, if you can keep him fit and you play him regularly, which of course you will do with a player that you're paying so much money for, you will get a good return from him, whether it's through goals and assists or whether it's through what he can do on the pitch as well, because he is such a dynamic midfielder, and I think he'd fit in really, really well at Newcastle.
Okay, no, good to know. Good to know in your perspective as well. There has been a question mark with regards to Jacob Ramsey. We brought it up earlier, Daz, about him not necessarily being available. It did say he played in 46 matches last season. It was 29 in the Premier League, 5 FA Cup, 10 in the Champions League. Is a lot of them off the bench that he played, you guys?
To be honest with you, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think a few of them obviously will have been. A few of them, I can't remember him completing many 90 minutes. Yeah. So whether he's playing 60, 70, 80, and then gets rotated obviously out. I can't remember exactly how many were starts and whatnot, but I can't remember him completing too many either. So
no, it's good to know. I didn't expect you to know all that detail anyway, but it was just interesting, because obviously Newcastle fans, there are some are excited about it. There are some that are a bit kind of standoffish for the reasons that you're giving, whether it's consistency, whether it's kind of his output, or whether it's his injury record or availability. That they're the things that I think are stopping Newcastle fans getting really excited about this deal, because we know he's technically is a very, very good player. Exactly,
and they're the reasons as well why a lot of Villa fans aren't overly disappointed with it as well. So it's interesting the two fan bases' perceptions on it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I suppose the other thing then is that there's probably another caveat to it where some Newcastle fans are going, "Why are we helping Villa?" You know, that kind of a way as well. as
exactly
vice versa. You know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got 300 people in the chat already watching the show. Thank you for tuning in already. Just make sure we get those likes. So let's get it up to 100. I think we're on 75, 76 at the moment. Just make sure as you come in late, if you're coming late, click that like. Only takes a second. Just click out of the live chat, click the like, click back into the live chat, and then you're back in business again. Look, I have to talk about it. Last day of the season, we did pick you to Champions League football. I know, Billy. I know you'd feel that way. Obviously, we were elated with it. Obviously, a poor performance from yourselves at Old Trafford. I don't think anybody expected that to happen. What are your expectations for Aston Villa this season? And in addition to that, what do you think the expectations should be whether it's with Isak, out without Isak for Newcastle United. So where do you think both teams should be looking entering into this season, mate?
To be perfectly honest with you, I think both teams should be looking at similar sort of seasons to last season. I think being in and around Champions League, Europa League conversation is an important one, because I think both teams are almost in the same mindset, where at the minute we just want that consistency, whether it be Champions League football. Obviously, we all want Champions League football because of the money that comes with it. Yeah. But for Villa as well, coming so close, I'd like another season of where we're that close. And hopefully next season we get it instead of bottle it, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So I think for Villa, I would love another season similar to last season, where we're in and around that conversation. Hopefully, obviously, this season we get it. We go on a good run in the Europa League, hopefully a semi-final at least. I think my perspective is, if Spurs can win it, we can win it. And obviously a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup run as well. FA Cup is the one that the only trophy that my dad's not seen us win. So that one means the absolute world to me. And he's been there for every game as well. In 82 in Rotterdam, he was there to see us win the European Cup. He's seen us win leagues, league cups, everything, the Super Cup. The FA FA Cup is the only one that he's missing. So that would mean the absolute world to me. But yeah, of course, I'm not going to turn down any of the trophies. I just want that night that Newcastle fans had, that Crystal Palace fans have had, just to say that you've seen your team properly win a proper trophy. So hopefully this season will be the season. We've had gradual steps to get there. Champions League quarterfinal, obviously, FA Cup semi-final. So disappointing that semi-final in particular was so disappointing. PSG are a fantastic team. An opportunity missed, really, because I think if we'd have got an extra goal at Villa Park, we may have the PSG, the thinking of the remontadas in previous seasons may have come into their thinking, and heads may have dropped slightly. But yeah, it's one of them, and I just hope that we have another consistent season similar to how we had last season. So, and I think Newcastle fans probably feel the same. I don't know. But I feel like we're both in the same boat, where you just want to be in and around that conversation. Obviously, hopefully get it, but more so just that consistent top 5, top 6 around that area.
We haven't actually talked about it, Daz. We've been so embroiled in Alexander Isak and transfer windows and injections, signings. We haven't actually talked about what are our expectations of this season. What are your expectations for this season, Daz? I'm interested to know.
Well, actually, I'll take what Billy offered there. I take the exact same as last season: Champions League and a cup. There we go. I'll take that any day of the week. But no, actually, if I refer back to it, first of all, I'm going to refer to Villa, because I was impressed by Villa last season, because I was expecting Villa all season long. This is where they're going to fall down. They're like trying to combine Champions League and the Premier League, what we couldn't do in our season in the Champions League because of injuries and everything, and all the excuses. But it just did not work for us, and we struggled. But waiting, but it didn't happen. Villa kept it up, and they had a great run in the Champions League. For us, I think I was down as 5th this season. That's taking care of the striker situation, and we have strikers going into it. But and I had Villa right below us in 6th, Billy. But on top table talk, Dan United, your friend of yours, Dan United, he kind of pushed it a bit, and he was making plays for how good Man United are going to be. And I elevate. They were just below Villa. They were 7th for me, so I'm switching Villa and Man United in my predictions. I
think Dan United had them to finish 4th last season, so take that how you will.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly,
but
go on,
what about you? What about you, Pete? Where do you think Newcastle will finish this season?
I was just going to say before I give my kind of expectation that Dan United on Top Table Talk was so I've never seen him so confident about his own team. Like the way he's talking, like I think he expects European football minimal. The way he was talking, like he's talking well, and look, they've had a great window, so it maybe it's warranted, but there's still gaping holes in Man United's team. Like I'm still not completely convinced. But hey, if he wants to have that confidence, it could well be.
He's got his chest out. The chest that he always has a knock at me for not having out. He's got it out for both of us, hasn't he?
Could be a big fall though. Could be a big fall that we take advantage of on the 12th man during the season.
Hopefully so.
we will see. But for me, it is very, very simple. Look, I'm with you, Daz. I'd take exactly what Billy was offering there, a trophy in Champions League all day long. But for me, the absolute priority, and people might not agree with me on this, because people might say, win another trophy, which I would love. Never thought I would see a trophy lifted from Newcastle United in my lifetime. We've seen it. It's amazing. I want it again. But I want to see us get Champions League again. I want to see us consistently get Champions League. Getting that back-to-back will be able to propel Newcastle United to another level and get us ever closer to that money six, to be able to properly compete. We need to get closer. Villa the same. We're building not just to be good teams and challenging, but we're building off the pitch revenue to be able to financially be able to compete. We're going through the pains of us last summer, you boys this summer, in terms of not being able to spend what you're able to, so that we can get through that moment and then properly can challenge consistently for years to come. That's what we need. And Champions League football is the key to unlock that, because of the money that it generates. It's that simple. I mean, you might not know off the top of your head, Billy, but I'm sure you guys earn 80, 90 million just off that Champions League.
More or less. Absolutely. Yeah, around that figure.
So, for teams like ours, that's ridiculously huge. And I'm sure on the books for you, come January 2026, you'll be able to reflect that in terms of it positively looking better for you on the books. And that's what we want. We want that on a consistent basis. So for me, minimum Champions League. I'll take, if you're giving me fifth right now, I'm snapping your hand off and I'm taking it. Isaac or not, I'm taking your hands, snapping your hands off for that fifth spot. And then everything else is a bonus. So that's kind of my wants for this season. People might not agree, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think there's a few questions come in for Billy, just before we go to the tactics board.
Yeah, there has been. First of all, a shout out to CrowFox24, who's become Loaded Ultra. Nice one, CrowFox. Welcome to the family. Also, we said it in the last show, but Tino in the last show was declared a Loaded Ultra as well. Let's get a few questions now for Billy. Okay. Tom has one here. He says about Watkins. Do you think he'll leave this window? And I think there's another one. Do you think he'll end his career at Villa? What's your thoughts on Watkins?
I don't think he's going to leave anymore. If you'd have asked me at the beginning of the window, I'd have been open to hearing offers. In particular, if they were around the 60 million pound mark, I'd probably have been inclined to have accepted it. Thankfully, those offers didn't come in, and thankfully we didn't accept it, because as you guys have had so many, such a struggle to find that replacement for Isak, we'd have had exactly the same with Watkins as well. So I think that happening for us has really highlighted the importance of keeping him. Yeah. And in pre-season, he's been fantastic. Scored 5 goals. He's been really, really sharp. He's scored goals that you've seen him miss. And so hopefully with a full pre-season under his belt, obviously last season he didn't have that. This season, full pre-season under his belt, hopefully we can go on and have a really, really good season like he did a couple of years ago. And if he's as clinical as what he was then I feel that we can push up for top 5 and hopefully Champions League again as well. In terms of finishing his career, I would love for him to finish his career at Villa because it means that he's scoring goals. So that's the thing for me. And I really like him as well as a person. He always comes across as a really nice guy. And so, yeah, to have him obviously now as our leading goal scorer in the Premier League, I'd love for him to go and get to that 100 club, and fingers crossed he does at some point, hopefully this season, but it's a good 25 goals, I think. So that might be pushing it a little bit too much.
That'd be a great season for him. Oh, speaking of goals, Geniesta asks, do you think Villa have got enough goal scorers in the team?
It's an interesting question. It's a really good question, because I'm not really. I think we do. But we need to see more players chip in with goals. In the season that we got Champions League, we had Leon Bailey scoring goals. He had a fantastic season that season. We had Moussa Diaby. We had Douglas Luiz. Last season, we didn't really have that. We had Watkins scoring goals. We had Rodgers chipping in. That was more or less it, really. There was obviously a couple of others. Tielemans bagged a couple as well. But no, we definitely need to chipping in, other players chipping in with goals. Hopefully Evan Gisond will be able to come in and bag a few as well. We've obviously got Daniel Marlon as well, someone that I've not even mentioned. Obviously his minutes last season were very limited because of Rashford coming in last minute. He's been fantastic in pre-season again, and I fully believe that he'll come in and score a few goals as well for us. So I do think there's enough goal scorers in the team. It's whether they can score those goals, I suppose, at the end of the day.
We might have found a new goal scorer for you, but because Matt Target has scored a goal there in pre-season, and the comment asks, fancy a quality left back in Matt Target, return of the Messiah.
Unfortunately, we're already stacked at left back with Ian Matson and Luca Dean, so I'll have to pass on that one. You can keep him for another couple of years.
We'll throw him in as part of the round.
He's lucky he's only got 1 year left. Hopefully not too much longer.
And the last question for now, it comes from Scouser. There are some respectful Liverpool fans that come and join us. But yeah, it says, thoughts on assigning Asensio?
If we can get the Asensio that started at Villa, then I'm absolutely all for it. If we get the Asensio that was halfway through and dropped off a little bit, I'm not so sure. But to be honest with you, he's a quality player. He's obviously a very big name as well that will bring a lot of attention to the club. I'm all for it. I really like Marco Asensio. I think if we can get that player, like I say, if we can get the player out of him that started at Villa last season and was scoring and assisting for fun, then it's going to help us undoubtedly, and hopefully over the season as well, we'll be able to pick up plenty more goals and assists, and hopefully one of those outside the box curlers into the top corner that he's so famous for that we didn't see last season.
Yeah, he's very famous for that. Especially at Real Madrid, he was hitting those for fun back in the day. So yeah, I think it'd be a good investment, and clearly he's a player that Unai Emery likes a lot. Boys, let's move on to the game on Saturday. Big game. Billy, you've already talked about it from a perspective that whoever's at home tends to have the advantage in terms of taking the points. I'm just going to share the screen. Hopefully you boys can see that on the screen, because I no longer can see you guys and the comments, but I can see the screen.
You get another screen, Pete.
Yeah, I do. Well, that's what the den may well hopefully unlock. We'll see what we can do there. But on the tactical board, obviously we've got Villa and we've got Newcastle now. I think I've updated the squad to reflect all the players. One question I did have, and I wasn't sure, is Buendia at Bayer Leverkusen, or is he still playing for you?
He's at Villa. He's been really good in pre-season, actually. Really good.
So I've got him in the squad. I wasn't sure. I kept him. I've moved around a few of the others. So interestingly, Billy, and look, I'll get you to set out your 11 on who you think will start. Is Martinez suspended for this game?
Unfortunately, so he is.
Yes. Because he always tends to have a good game against us. But yeah, was that down to the red card against Man U last game of the season?
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that one as well, Pete.
Forgot about that.
That's twice now. Twice.
You know what? It was only when I was going through the squad, it popped up and it was like unavailable. And I was thinking, what? Actually, I'll tell you what it was. It was when I was doing my Premier League fantasy football. I was putting my team together and I was going to choose Martinez and it wouldn't allow me to select him. And it was because he was suspended. So that's made me think, I forgot about that. So is it Marco Bizot?
Bizot. I've no idea how to pronounce it, but he'll be starting in goal. Yeah.
Have you seen much of him? What's he like? I know he's a new recruit for you this summer.
Yeah, he's played a few games in pre-season. From what I've seen of him, he's seems decent enough. A lot better than Olsen, particularly with the ball at his feet as well. At Brest last season, he played well in the Champions League. I think he picked up a couple of player of the matches. So he's obviously a decent keeper and an upgrade on what we had previously. So hopefully he won't be needed too much this season. But when we do need him, hopefully he'll be able to step up and replace Emi Martinez.
Yeah, couldn't have been any worse than Olsen. So I did see that he's left the club. Lots of Villa fans are jumping for joy at that thought,
myself included.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll run through as your 11 and what your formation is potentially going to look like.
So the formation will be the same as it always has been under Emery, a pretty basic looking 4-4-2. I think right back we'll have Matty Cash with Konza and Pau Torres, the two centre backs, and then it's really a toss up at left back. I don't really know who Unai Emery prefers because it's obviously between Luca Dean and Ian Maatsen, but I think it'll likely be Luca Dean to start the season off, and I think Maatsen will eventually take over at some point this season. Luca Dean, who's been fantastic, just signed a new contract with the club. I think it's another 3 years that we've got him signed up for, and every time you think that he's going to drop off now, he always takes another step and somehow gets better. So hopefully it's another season like that and another really good season for him. Going into midfield, I think the two central midfielders will be Kamara and Tielemans, with John McGinn, I would say, on the left-hand side of midfield and probably Daniel Marlon on the right-hand side of midfield.
So and then almost as a left winger then, is that what?
Yeah, exactly, yeah, more or less. And then Marlon the same.
So is he going to be a starter then? Because as you mentioned, you paid 20 odd million to bring him in, and then Rashford came in and he wasn't even in the Champions League squad, and you didn't see him. I was at the game at Villa Park, and when you guys beat us, and I don't even think he was in the squad that day, or he might have come off the bench. I can't remember, but like he hasn't really featured for you. Certainly not as a starter. But you think that's going to be the case this season?
I do. I think he'll play a lot more minutes. Yeah, whether he's a starter or not, once we get all up and running, and once we've bought a few more players in, or hopefully bought a few more players in, I'm not sure. But like I say, in pre-season, he's been really good. So I'm really sharp, which is the most important thing. So yeah, I think he'll probably start this game as well for the speed down that wing. And yeah, I think it was just the Champions League squad was just an unfortunate occurrence for him, if you know what I mean. I think no one was really expecting us to bring Rashford in. And then when that opportunity was there, we jumped on it. And then we're thinking, shit, we're only allowed to add 3 more players to the squad. At the time, we had a centre-back crisis. All centre-backs were out injured, so we needed Disasi to be in there. And then obviously you can't leave out the likes of Asensio and Rashford either. So it was unfortunate for him. But when he did play in the league last season, he looked good. and even bagged a few goals as well towards the end of it. So I think we'll definitely see more minutes from him, and hopefully it's very cliche, but it'll be a little bit like a new signing. So hopefully he'll get some minutes. And I think, yeah, for the pace down that right hand side on Saturday afternoon, I think I'm more inclined to start him than anyone else on that right hand side. Obviously, Bailey as well is in talks with Roma, so I doubt he'll be playing. And he's the one that I would definitely favour over Bailey anyway at the minute. So,
okay, big question I've got for you is obviously Morgan Rogers did pick up an injury in the preseason friendly, I think at the weekend, or just before the weekend.
Yeah.
Is he going to be fit? You think on Saturday?
He's been in training, and I think he'll definitely be fit. Yeah, I think it was more for precaution. It was last Wednesday, I believe, against Roma, and I think it was more just a precaution. He came straight off, and then it was just a precaution to not play him over the 2 friendly games at the weekend as well. So I think he'll definitely be fit. He's massively important. If he isn't, it'll probably be Gesson that comes in and starts, but I do expect Rogers to be fit, and then obviously Ollie Watkins will be up there as well.
So would he play just behind Watkins, or is it 2?
It'll be more of like a second striker, so just behind him on the right, and then Watkins will be as the main striker on the left.
Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
Lovely. So that'll be, or is likely to be, the 11 that Billy thinks will start at home against Newcastle United. Daz, this is our opportunity, first one of the season, mate, to throw up our 11. Obviously, we've got some new signings in there, the likes of Malik Chow that's in there. You've got obviously Aaron Ramsdale in goal. We've got a couple of more, or one more, because Jacob Ramsey won't be available. I think that was confirmed earlier. We've got obviously Anthony Hanga.
That's a relief.
Yeah. Do you think that's part of the maybe a handshake agreement that he wasn't available for Saturday?
I'd like to think so. Yeah, I'd like to think so. Yeah, you can have your favourable financial way, but he can't play on Saturday.
Yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me. And to be fair, I was thinking about it when it popped up. I think Craig Hope put it on. When I saw it, I thought, that it kind of makes sense from a Jacob Ramsey point of view, because obviously he is a graduate from the academy at Aston Villa. It means that he doesn't then have to, unless we get you in the cup, he doesn't have to go back to Villa Park until next season if he misses this game. So it kind of takes the emotion out of it all. But Daz, your 11, what you go for, mate?
Okay, I think I'm going to start from front to back, Pete, because we've got some selections to make here as we go through. But up front, it's a bit easier. So first up, Gordon through the middle. We know Isaac was not going to play. Yeah, full stop. And so Anthony Gordon is going to be in there as a false 9. Okay, then that means that Barnes is out left.
Yeah.
And for me, I want to see Elanga as a right winger. That would mean having Murphy on the bench.
Yeah.
Right. The midfield kind of takes care of itself as well. We in the number 6, putting Tonali, and then with Joe Linton on the left and Bruno on the right. And it's 4-3-3. Is our formation. Right, so now let's get to the tricky bit, the back line. Okay, this I have my own ideas here, but okay, I'll say I think for right back, I think Eddie goes with Trips. Now I would start with Livramento. I think. Well, Hall didn't get so many. He's still coming back from injury. I don't know, is it right to throw him in straight away? So I'm putting Trips there at right back, and I'm putting Livramento at left back.
Okay.
And having Hall in on the bench to come on. I'm putting Shar on over Malik Chow. I think it's too early for Malik Chow to come in, and Eddie will want to bed him in. He won't start him straight away. Next one is interesting, because do we go Botman or do we go Burn? Botman, because it's Botman, Burn, because it's Burn, and now an England international and stuff. I think I'm going to say Botman. I'm going to say Botman for now. And in goal, I would have Ramsdale, but I think Eddie's going to pick Pope. And that, I know that means Byrne is on the bench in this one. He'll hardly go 5 at the back, would he, for this game? I don't know. Let's see. Tweak it.
It's interesting, Daz. You've thrown up a potential spanner there. That, to be fair, Daz, I was actually considering that. I mean, in terms of the front line, it speaks for itself. And in the midfield, as you've said, spot on. I think that'll be exactly the front 6 that you see. The 3 in midfield, the 3 in the front line. It just makes sense. Elanga against Atletico Madrid, albeit we lost the game, but in that first half, he was absolutely destroying his left back. He has to start. He looks a proper player. Barnes, he likes playing against Villa. He does like a goal or an assist. Gordon has scored a few against Villa before, so whether he can do it down the middle is it's a different proposition you're coming up against with Torres and Konza, because Gordon is quick and he's a much better presser of the ball than he's at, but he doesn't have that goal scoring instinct. That's the bit that we're going to be missing. That midfield battle is going to be really, really important, because I do feel at some points Rodgers will be dropping in there to form a 3v3 at times, but then he'll be trying to stretch the play.
As will McGinn as well.
Yeah, and McGinn could drop in there. So it'd be interesting how we manage that, because we have struggled, particularly at Villa Park, to manage that transition from Aston Villa. So whether Eddie's going to come up with something different to do that. I'm with you in terms of Lewis Hall. People in the chat, I just had a quick flick on there just to come out of the tactics board, and people saying, Hall has to start. He absolutely does have to start, but he hasn't had a full pre-season. And so this is why it's going to take him time to get 100% back up and running. We do need the pace of Livramento in there. His pace is key in this back line. Chow will become really important in that when he comes into the team, because he is also rapid too. Bold move, Daz, going with Botman. To be fair, it's who I would play, but obviously, Dan Burn has given nobody any reason for him to be dropped. So it is a difficult decision. I do think Burn will start, but I would, if it was my decision, I'd be going with Sven Botman. We need that calming influence in someone that's very good technically on the ball to hold possession, particularly away at Villa Park. It's not an easy place to go. And you need to be good in possession. And I think that would be my thinking, Daz, to go along with you in playing Sven Botman. I'll be honest, lads, I'd be going Ramsdale in goal. I know Nick Pope will start, and I know why you've done it, because you just know that he's going to be picked. But I'd be going
that's what Eddie will pick. All day long, I go Ramsdale as well.
Yeah, I'd be throwing him in and giving him his start. Really put a marker down to Nick Pope. He hasn't had a good pre-season. And I'd be saying Ramsdale starts, give me a reason to put you back in. That'd be my conversation.
Switch him out. Switch him out, Pete.
All right, okay.
Let's be bold.
We've pulled rank here and we've gone Ramsdale in goal. I would be doing that. It goes back to the point, Daz. We talked about we want players that are good on the ball. We know Trips technically is good on the ball. Shaw's good on the ball. Botman's good on the ball. Livramento can carry the ball long distances. And then you've got a goalkeeper that's comfortable on the ball. When you're away from home with Villa that are good pressers, that work hard off the ball, that don't give you much time. You haven't got time to take 2, 3, 4 touches on the ball. You need people that are confident on the ball. And what you've got there is a back line in that 4 and 5, including
so would I.
Yeah.
You want Ruddy in as well, Billy?
I'd prefer Ruddy out of the 3 of them, yeah.
So, yeah, but, and I'll just say this really quickly, this would not surprise me one bit, as if we did
play 12. Yeah.
Well, no, not 12. It'd be interesting to see who drops out of the team, but it won't surprise me.
Joe Linton, surely.
No, I would say Possibly, but I would maybe say this.
Okay.
I'd maybe say you get this because of the same reason. Joe can come back in here, but he can also get forward. I wouldn't be surprised to see this either. Something a little bit different, a different question for Unai Emery to answer. And what it does, it sets us up solid with a back three. I think it helps us manage Watkins and Rodgers better because you've got three centre-backs ultimately. Livramento can fill in and Trippier can fill in. So at times you might even see this to really stop you getting between the lines. Because if you remember, Daz and Billy, the game at Villa Park last season, as I've said, I was there. So me and Emeka, my mate who I was at the game with, we both spotted after 5 minutes. You guys were destroying us in these flanks with Ollie Watkins here, and then if he wasn't doing it, Rodgers was here, and in particular in these little gaps, and we were being overrun. We need to stop that from happening because that was your way in. Everything else in the game, I thought we battled and we were going back and forth. It wasn't one-way traffic, but in your attacking area and our defensive area, you ran us ragged. So maybe trying something different, and it still leaves you with Murphy, Barnes coming off the bench. You've still got the option of Hall, who can maybe cover. If Trippier gets tired, you can bring in Hall. Tino comes here, and you've got the transitions in the game off the bench to continue and keep us solid. And then you've got Malik Chow. If Shaw gets overrun, which he did against Watkins through pace, what you've got there is you bring him in, who can also play in a back three, and you can combat him with pace. So there's lots of options there that could potentially work by having a back three. So I wouldn't be against that. Whether we do
I'd like this better.
Yeah,
for this game away from home against a team that scored so many against last season at Villa Park, this would make sense, all right?
I can't see what people are saying in the chat, but do people agree with this potential setup against Villa or not?
Well, the client says we got torn apart by Villa, go 5-5-0. Friday said that's my lineup. I think he was referring to this one. Craig is saying Barnes will drop out in this three at the back formation. And Andrew and a few more saying Malik Chow might start, but I think it's a bit too early for him.
I would absolutely want him to start, but you're right. Eddie Howe normally gives him a little bit of time. Billy, I'll let you have the kind of last say on that. What do you think of that potential setup? Do you see any problems it could cause for Villa, or any openings it could cause for Villa from your perspective?
It's still a dangerous team, isn't it? It really is still a dangerous team. You don't have Isak in there, but it's still a solid, dangerous team that is going to be hard to attack against and also extremely hard to defend against. Anthony Elanga, I think, is a fantastic signing for you. As you mentioned, Anthony Gordon always likes a goal against Villa, as well as Harvey Barnes as well, of course. I think a lot of Villa fans are thinking, oh, fantastic, they don't have Isak, myself included. And then you look at this and you think, oh, shit, they're still a very, very good team. It's not like that. They're certainly not a one-trick pony with Isak or anything. You've still got a very, very, very solid lineup there. And, it's going to be a really interesting game to see how everything pans out. I think, obviously, you got Eddie Howe there and Unai Emery on the bench. It's going to be a game of chess as well, from a tactical standpoint as well. And Jason Tyndall.
I wonder if he'll be wearing that Wham t-shirt or hoodie. Maybe too hot. Maybe too hot for a hoodie.
Too hot. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good team, and I think it will be a good game for the neutral.
Absolutely. So let's wait and see. We've got the bit of team out there that Billy thinks is out there. What we've done, people that are just maybe tuning in now, we had our 4-3-3 out there standard, but we've changed it to what we think might well work better from our perspective. It's only our opinion, to set up away at Aston Villa. We don't know for sure. Probably won't happen, but it's just something that we've kind of put out there as an alternative to the 4-3-3. So let's see what happens with that. I can see in the chat as well, someone mentioned no chance Ramsdale starts ahead of Pope. We know that. This is why if you've just joined in, Danny Smith, we had Pope already in there because we know it will start, but it's what we would prefer, which is why we left Ramsdale in there. Before we get your predictions, Billy, before we start wrapping up the show, are there any other questions, Daz, that we can fire Billy's way?
Well, first of all, since you mentioned Fantasy Premier League, everyone started asking, is there another code? And people have been asking the last few days. So I think we'll have to turn one on. We'll have to create one. So you have been listening to people. We will create a loaded league just for fun. Just for fun.
If you want me to do it later, I can set one up and then just send
I think I have one created that I think if I create a team, it'll just automatically get created. So yeah, and then everyone from last year, the previous years will be in. So and then we can share the code as well for any new people. But there was a lot of people in previous. I gave up after the first week. I think too much going on. But
what we'll do, Daz, if people are entering the Loaded Fantasy League, if you win it and you're a member, we'll give you a prize.
Oh, hang on. You have to clear that with Chris Hall because he signed off on that.
Okay. All right.
Hold that rank here now, Pete.
Hold for a second.
What about if a Villa fan wins this Fantasy Premier League?
This happens, Billy. That happens, Billy.
That's what happens.
Everyone's welcome. As long as I remember, everyone's welcome.
As long as you remember, you're in a chance to win it. But anything out there before we?
Yeah, good question. Good question for Billy here. Do you think Barnes will be wearing a headband to match Gordon and Elanga?
You tell me. I don't know. I've not seen him over pre-season. Has he kept it short back and sides, or is he grown it out a little bit?
Gordon's got full BGs at the stage.
Full BGs with Adidas bandana or whatever it is now. Whatever he's got, his headband. He's sponsored by Adidas now, so he's going up in the world.
No, there's no other questions that I could see at the moment, but I just wanted to give a shout out to people. The Scouser who's watching us from Port Elizabeth in South Africa. So nice one. Scouser, actually, I used to have a friend from Port Elizabeth who passed away, but a nice one. And also Jelly. JRI Jelly is watching from South Florida. So, and he says, Loaded Mag, best Newcastle channel. Thanks very much, Jelly. And no, the winner does not get an Isaac 14 shirt. No, that's definitely not happening.
And also, they don't get a Caribbean cruise unless we win it. Then we could.
Chris Hall could sign off on that.
If he wins it.
He's threatened to give away a car. It may not be his car, or it could be his car he gives away. It's up on blocks at the moment with Chris's car. Right. No other questions, Pete.
Let's get to predictions then. So, look, Daz, I'll start with you. Or shall I? No, in fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll start. I'm going to give a prediction. I'm going to say the score's going to be 1-1. So I'm going to go for a draw to start off the Premier League season at Villa Park. I'm going to hope and pray that we can pick something up, hopefully with that formation we had on the tactics board. Billy, I'll come to you as the opposition fan next, and we'll end with Daz. What do you think the score prediction is? What is your score prediction?
I mean, going off previous seasons, it'd hint towards a 3-4-5-0 win in any direction. However, I don't think it's going to be that emphatic. No matter what the victory is, I do think it will be I think there's going to be a winner, and of course, I'm going to back the boys and say that it's going to be a 2-1 win. I think it's going to be very close, very tight. But yeah, I've got to back the boys.
Yeah, fully expected it to happen after your run of form at Villa Park. Daz, we'll end on yours. What is your prediction for the game at Villa Park? Are you going to do what I did and do a Keith Roll sit on the fence 1-1, or are you going to back your boys?
That's what the chat is saying, Splinter.
I'm pulling them out now. I've got a few splinters from the fence that I'm sitting on. I apologize, Julius.
Well, I was also going to go 1-1, Pete. If they come to me first, I was saying 1-1. But now that Billy has said they're going to win, I think I've got to push the board out and go 1-0 Newcastle.
Oh,
I can't see a score in 2, so I can't say 2-1. I'm going to say 1-0 Newcastle. Isaac off the bench.
Imagine that.
Well, that would get the headlines, wouldn't it? Wow.
We had it with Duran last season. You never know.
Imagine that reaction if he steps off the coach for that game. Jesus Christ, man. It'll be uproar. For both clubs.
1-0 Newcastle.
1-0 Newcastle. Okay. People in the chat putting their predictions in. Colton Connor's gone 5-1 to Newcastle. I would love it, but I don't see it. There's a few that have gone 2-2, a few that have gone 1-1. There's been a few draws in there, actually. Different perspectives. Yeah, Jordan Team for Life thinks Villa going to win. Plan Lad 2. Yeah, there we go. So there's lots of different predictions in there. So let's wait and see. Hold on. Dan United, here he is in the chat right at the end of the show. In the voice of Chris Eubank, or Ebanks. Chris Ebanks? Ebanks Blake? Well, I think he was Chris Eubank. You better watch out, Newcastle and Villa. We're coming. I told you about that confidence. I told you.
Dan, you predicted yourselves to finish 4th last season. In fairness, it'd be pretty good going if it was to be as bad a prediction. So we'll see.
There we go. So there's your response, Dan United. There we have it. Lots of 0-0s in there. Snoozer, GRI Jelly says, Eddie Masterclass 0-0. Some saying away wins 1-2-1. Lots of different predictions in there, but let's wait and see. Billy,
Daniel has gone 3rd. He's gone to 3rd.
What? Right, Billy.
That's spun me. Yeah.
We need to hold into this. Come on, yeah. We've got the evidence here. We can clip this.
How do I take a screenshot?
Save.
Control.
Got it. Saved.
And
not getting out of that one, Dan. You're not getting out of that one.
I've took a picture as well, so there's double evidence as well as the clip. There's 3 pieces of evidence. You need to achieve it now, Dan. Told you the confidence is crazy. This is wild. Anyway, look.
Only
Billy,
Dan United.
Only Dan United. It's been a pleasure, Billy. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Pleasure as always, boy. Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Great to have such a great guest on to set up the season on our big match previews. Look, best of luck for the rest of the season after Saturday, of course.
Same for yourself.
Obviously, we'll talk again in the build-up to the game later on in the season at St. James's Park. But make sure everyone is going to subscribe over at Billy's new channel. I'll just put the picture on the screen again. It is there. Billy has got it in his description too. AV Billy YT for YouTube. Go and give him a subscribe. And obviously it's on his descriptions there.
Nice one.
That's a wrap. First one in the bank. Great chat.
That is it. Yes, busy day, but yeah, thanks, Billy. We'll see you in the next one.
Pleasure as always, mate. Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Good night.
I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? I'm get those goosebumps every time.